terms of physical interaction is the way that some of the digital artworks have been progressing over the years from net art, and we're starting to see a lot more work that is responsive to a space or the location of a person or an active participant. So in terms of music systems, obviously we're very used to a studio setup where we have knobs and dials and keyboard and mouse setups, whereas these pieces enable us to create sounds and sonic interaction using our body gestures, by physical objects that are toys, and it's very much about a kind of cross-discipline approach between, say, a product design, a sculpture, architecture, all about creating this kind of playful sound experience.
I'm doing sound installations and sound sculptures for a few years. The particular work what you can see here is called Death Before Disco, and it's especially a version for the Cybersonica. So it's a sound piece that's kind of equivalent to a kind of liquid disco ball. So we have like live signals from outer space and from the internet to create a completely other world with the artifacts of information society. That means magnetism, computers, all different kind of special fields, you know, like magnetic fields, and I'm also working with different kind of, I'm charging other liquids, you know, making kind of, I'm liquefied computers in a piece. So I'm misusing technology. I try to break up technology, you know. So another piece, I destroyed computers and make a big landscape out of computer sand. So it's all about like what is technology and where can technology else go without always having technology in the foreground. Of course, I'm using technology, but it's not the main issue that I would like to contextualize technology as itself. I like to work with it like a painter needs a brush. So I'm using technology to go to special purposes with my work and to come to some conclusions. But it's not like that the machine should not. The machine as a machine is boring for me, you know.
Obviously, because of video game culture, a lot of work is very it's a good link between, say, video game style play and interaction, and actually what the artists are trying to achieve in terms of immersive experiences and getting people involved and having them really focused on the experience.
It's a sound-based performance engine that particularly uses a real-time 3D graphics engine called Ogre to actually deliver an interface whereby someone can sculpt sound using three-dimensional objects to change the properties of sounds and record those sounds to a track and build up a composition by actually editing forms in real time. Given that the PlayStation 2 gamepad is in pretty much 1 in every 3 homes in the UK, it is a familiar interface. It's almost as familiar, you could argue, as the guitar. What we wanted to do was just hand over a wide set of possibilities to the user to be able to actually generate their own outcomes, I suppose. But one of the interesting things about this piece, I think, is that there is a persistence built into the compositional model. You can actually generate some audio, laying them all up in tracks, sculpt sounds, etc., and then walk away, and someone else can come on and pick up where you left off. And so, of course, over the course of, say, a dozen users or something like that, you do actually get quite dense and interesting compositions that themselves each remember the footprints, I suppose, of those that have gone before.
We started with we were looking to experiment this time with something else which is not computer related, because all the other stuff we did so far was always digital and always using a computer to control.
I like the craftsmanship, like as a group we've been working with a skilled craftsman, a person called Herwig who's been sort of giving us his expertise, and so we just wanted to make something that would work as a sound piece but also be sort of a craft piece too, if you like.
Okay. Do I have any makeup or anything to get? No. The original idea was to have a room installation, and we wanted basically to fill a room with lots of tape and have people speaking into one part of the room and then sound coming out somewhere else. Obviously we don't have a room, and thankfully we didn't have a room because it was tight as it was, so we just wanted to really have it naked to see what's going on. It's about taking things away from being digital, because most of the stuff we've done so far has been digital. So there's something nice happening inside a box or inside somewhere. There's a computer that's doing all the clever stuff. And we kind of thought, since it's analog, it'd be nice just to lay it bare and let people see what it was, so you can actually trace it. When you speak into it, you can follow the tape round and see where your voice is at that point in the tape. So you can then sort of play with the two heads at the same time to try and mix your voice. So it's just really about leaving it naked and bare to let people see what it is.
Hello. Well, if you enjoy some object, and then it's kind of like if you can play with hands or something like touch or hearing something, it's all. I think we can say this is all interaction. We don't need to put a lot of meaning of for the interaction, but the main important thing is people must enjoy and play with it. So that's our key point.
This piece, as in many other of our pieces, interactivity, almost playful, but we define interactivity with more engagement with the audience. And our aim is to create interfaces which make that very easy, interfaces which people already know. Like, we have another piece called the SMS projector, where you use actually your mobile phone. That's an interface everybody is familiar with. This one kind of people know they actually have to perform to get it working from like a cash machine. You insert something, then you use a keypad, and that way people can really concentrate on what is going on rather than on how to use the interface.
If you look at the design of the whole thing, we do see a very playful aspect in the whole aesthetic of the objects. Especially the object we are exhibiting here is very, almost illustrative, very, very playful. It was inspired by the music boxes from the 19th century, where you have very engaging illustrations on it. And we tried to carry this over into both the action, the interaction with the piece, but also in the whole design of it. Engaging your audience. In terms of design, it's making the concept and the technology behind it accessible for people who are maybe not as engaged in technology, making it accessible to them. As Eva mentioned before, finding interfaces that people can associate with, and play really helps, playfulness helps that action.
Especially with this machine, it's all about creating something whilst destroying something, like the act of tearing the flyer. And I think, play is a really powerful way of creating new things. It's not, we work in a collaborative, partly because of that. It makes it much easier to bounce off ideas, all these kind of things. And I think this is a really nice way of creating, a lot of surprising things. And I think we're not trying hard.
No, retake it. You'll get it.